Okay, so we've done our cover and we've done the first spread. Now it's time to take the styling from those two and bring it out into our last two spreads. You should have your copy sitting there ready to go. So the first thing I want to do is I want to style my copy with what I've already set up. So the body copy, I already have a style sheet for this, so I can apply that. And then this, I've already got a subhead. Now you can see that this subhead is all caps and it's really too long. And because this was written in ChatGPT, I have the ability to change it to fit what I want. So I'm just going to try using that part of it. And I think I want to take my subhead and remove it and put it in its own box so I have a little bit more freedom. The next thing I need to decide is how I'm going to arrange this page. Now on this page I put it on the left two columns and left the right column blank, which kind of gives it a modern space. On this one I think I'm going to bring this down and I want to put a text box on this side and a text box over here. And so the way you do that is you make this text box smaller. Now you can see that there's a plus sign at the end, and that's because it's saying there's overset text. There's more text than can fit into this box. So I'm going to make another text box and I'll put it over here on my margins. Get that squared away. And then all I do is while I'm in the selection tool, I will click on that plus. And when I do, it loads my cursor with copy. And since I've already set up a text box here, I can just click and it goes in there. So that is called threading text. And you can do that through as many boxes as you want on a page. Now I have to decide how I want to space these. So I can bring this one down. Maybe I want them even. And so this is giving me a problem called a widow, or sometimes an orphan, where the last little bit of a paragraph is hanging up here on its own. And we definitely don't want that. So I'm going to adjust some things. And since I made the columns uneven on this page, I'd like to do something like that here. But the only problem is with only 3 columns, I either have to make the text box this big, which is a little bit small for what I want. So I'm going to change my columns because I really like it to be maybe out like that. So you can still change your columns in the middle of working on it. You just need to go to your Pages panel. I'm going to go to my parent page. You can change anything. You can change the page numbers. You can change this column layout. Make sure both pages are selected by holding the Shift key, clicking on both of them. Whatever pages are blue are what you are applying to. I'm going to go to Margins and Columns. And I want to make this more columns. And by doing more columns, I have a little bit more freedom to the size that I can make things. So I'm going to say, okay. Now when I go to my spread, I can actually, I was pretty close to what I wanted that to be. I want it to go to right there. And maybe on this side, it also goes right to there. And so remember, always put it on the edge before the gutter. The gutter is the spacing between columns. The other thing that I noticed on here is that our text is not justified, and I'd like to make that justified if possible. Now, I need to line these up, and the best way to do that is to bring down a guide, but you can see when I bring down the guides, I only get them on one side, and since this is a spread, that's not very helpful. So I'm going to hold the Command key, and then I'm going to bring it down. Now I can bring this text box to the same space and see where we're at. It looks like I'm still a little bit tight, so I'm going to grab them and bring them up a little bit. And I've noticed when I click on here, it's picking up the subhead style sheet. I'm not sure why that is. That means that it's contaminated in there. Yeah. So all I do is select everything and let's make that body copy. There we go. Okay, so I've got a little widow up there with the word enlightenment. I can go shorter still, and that actually works because it ends on the end of the copy. They line up. So I'm going to do that. And then I have to put my subhead here. And I just have to fit that somewhere on this guide. Now, it's not always going to hit the column just perfectly because the words are what they are. You can't really distort that, especially since we have a style sheet on that. So I'm just going to leave that right there. So that has that same look of this page. So now I need to put in the images, and I have 4 book covers. Now here's a good way to place your images. Make one box, and I have 4, so it's even. That's another reason why I wanted an even number column structure. So I'm going to make one, hold the Option or Alt key, duplicate it over, then hold the Shift key so you can grab both of those. Hold the Option or Alt key to duplicate it, the Shift or Control key to keep it in line, and then there you go. So I have my shapes already lined up and ready. Now I'm going to grab the book covers, and you can see they're all aligned, and you can see they're all loaded up on my cursor. Do you see the number 4? That means there are 4 images loaded in this cursor. So I just click them into place, and you can see they're all different size. One of the things I want to do is I want to trade this one out because I don't want to put 2 red book covers in a row. That's easy. What I can do to kind of get these in the ballpark of fitting this is select them all, hold the Shift or the Control key so you can select everything, then go to Object, and under Fitting, these are some automatic fitting options. Not all of them are useful. It really comes down to these first 2. You either fill the frame proportionately. That means the image hits all 4 sides of the box that you made and fills the box. And some will get cropped off. The second one is to fit. So watch the difference. When I fill the frame proportionately, it fills the frame with the image. When I go to fit, it will not crop anything. And so even though the last book fits the space, these other ones don't because they have some other parts of the image. So when you're placing a client logo or product or something that can't be cropped, then you want to go to fit. But in this case, we want to go to fill. But you can see those still have some things. So even though it's a nice start, you have to go in here and look at your images. It's really important. The best way to kind of subtly get these to fit is to have this bar on top. And I have the workspace as Essentials Classic. So you can see up here I have these measurements. On the far left, you'll see this reference point. Let me show you how useful that is. In this particular case, I have some space above and below that I need to fill. So I want to make this slightly bigger, starting from the center and equally going out. So I can just click once, twice. Oops, I forgot something, and this is important. I'm in the image box. I don't want to make the box bigger. I want to make the image bigger within the box. So I'm going to double click. Now I'm on the image. And so the same thing, reference point in the center, so it'll size from the center out, and I'll just click this up. It's also a really useful way to keep you from disproportionately scaling your images. I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Looks like it has the same scenario. Click, so I'm on the image within the box, reference point in the center, and I'm going to click that up. One click does it. Now this one I can see the side of the book is on both of these, and I don't necessarily need that, so I'm going to move this over. So that's something that you can't do automatically. I just want you to look at whatever it is that you're placing, the artist's work, the designs, and make sure that they're cropped in a way that works. So this one too needs to go bigger from the top. Okay, so that's our spread. Now you can go in and you can start playing around with this. In my case, I have 6 columns, so I could also move this so it's in the center. I could make that aligned right, and always take a look at these with the grids turned off to kind of get an idea of how it's working. So maybe this goes to the left, maybe this goes over here. Yeah, that actually looks pretty cool. And then I would bring this maybe up a little bit. Okay, so once you have columns, just like you did on your Knoll brochure, you can move things around as long as they fit in that column. All right, now let's do the last spread.